So growing up, I was absolutely obsessed with Final Fantasy VII, like most of you here on the channel probably were too, which meant that if there was any type of Final Fantasy VII paraphernalia out there, I needed to get it. Mom, I need this strategy guide. It's gonna give me all the secrets that I missed out on. I need this magazine that's got Cloud on it. I need this compact CD that's gonna contain music that will change the course of my life as I know it. I got a fever, and the only cure is more Final Fantasy VII. So, one of my favorite memories as a kid was my mom taking me and my sister to one of our favorite stores to go to called Media Play, which unfortunately no longer exists, but think of it like a really big Best Buy before Best Buy really expanded across the nation. So they had video games, movies, DVDs, music, anime, trading cards, musical instruments, TVs, anything entertainment related, it was probably there. Funny enough, also adult DVDs. And I mentioned that because, side story, one of my last memories of Media Play was during their going out of business liquidation sale. And I remember for some reason, they had the anime DVDs in the same section with the adult DVDs, which I think is one of the reasons why as a kid I never got into anime, because I was afraid that if I went into that aisle, I'd get in trouble and my mom would get arrested or something. It's a really suspicious floor plan by Media Play. Not sure why they did that. But I remember like the last time we went, there was a guy in that section looking at the adult DVDs and they had some sort of deal, like a buy one, get one free thing. And this dude had a stack of adult movies. He was gonna go home and have himself a good night. Good for that guy. But anyway, I remember as a kid, my mom took me and my sister to Media Play one day. And as soon as we walked in, they had these VHS tapes on display called GameBrain. And my eyes as a kid naturally darted to the cover because of all the pretty colors. But then I noticed. Anything familiar there? Haha. Sephiroth. Being a Final Fantasy freak as a kid, I told my mom, Mom, this has got Final Fantasy VII on it. Can I get it? I need it. Thankfully, she let me get it. I think it was like less than $10, thankfully, so it wasn't too expensive. But this VHS tape I would wear out as a kid because it was so much fun to watch. Now, you gotta remember, this was back in 1997. This was before we had television networks dedicated to gaming like G4, RIP, twice, or YouTube and broadband internet, where if you wanted to see something gaming related, you could just go online and find it. So to have a videotape that was 90 minutes long, dedicated to video games, was a really big deal as a kid. Now, I'll give you a brief synopsis of what GameBrain is because the video itself we're gonna watch actually explains it very well. But essentially, this is a video walkthrough for some of PlayStation's biggest games, including Tomb Raider 2, Crash Bandicoot 2, a game that I was obsessed with but could never find called Treasures of the Deep, which looked super insane, Armored Core, Blasto, if anyone remembers that, but the big granddaddy finale for this video was Final Fantasy VII, which was pretty cool. So I thought, since we are potentially on the verge of seeing something related to Remake Part 3, we're nearing the beginning of the end of this Remake trilogy, I thought it'd be fun to look back at GameBrain to see what tips they had for the OG FF7. Now, what's also interesting about GameBrain is that I think a lot of the games featured in this movie were developer builds, so some stuff visually looks different here than it would in the finalized version. So I thought it'd be kind of a fun game to play during the Final Fantasy VII section of this video. Is there anything that kind of stands out that looks different to you from this build of the game from the final build? If you notice anything, leave it in the comments down below. I thought it'd be kind of a fun game to play to kind of pick that stuff out. So I'm excited to relive a little piece of my childhood. Again, this is GameBrain. This was a combination collaborative effort between PlayStation and MTV. RIP MTV. All right, so there are a few different uploads on YouTube for the full GameBrain video. However, the one that we are sourcing from today is from the 14th Doctor on YouTube. Great name. I'm assuming it's a Doctor Who reference. Love that show. But I went with this one because the 14th Doctor painstakingly went through and digitized the GameBrain VHS, cleaned up all the audio, denoised, upscaled, proper cropping. It looks and sounds really good. So big ups to the 14th Doctor. I'll leave a link in the description to this video because we won't be checking out the full thing. We'll just be watching the intro and the section dedicated to Final Fantasy VII. So let's get started. Oh man, This intro here is bringing back some memories. Wow. Sony Music Entertainment. Funny enough, MTV put together some of my favorite stuff back in the day. There was a movie, a mockumentary called Together. If you've ever seen This Is Spinal Tap, how it's like a mockumentary on the makings of a metal hairband, Together was the late 90s, early 2000s version of a pop boy band. So it's the story of putting together this fictional boy band known as Together. The movie is fantastic. It's super funny. And oddly enough, they had a really good music. They also had a TV show that ran for 2 seasons and a second album. So, great stuff.
We're a 5-man pop ensemble. You'd be number 4.
Look, G. Yo, Mickey Park's got 1 hoe and 1 hoe only. And that's Mickey Park, fool.
Oh my God, my childhood nostalgia feelings are just like kicking in hard right now. MTV of all things. Stick it in, press play. Good old VHS.
Ever since I could remember, games have been a way of life for me.
Many of us can relate.
Combat the Asteroids, Centipede the Missile Command, I've played them all. Eventually, all the games seemed the same to me. It was time for something more. I had to get inside.
GameBrain, the official PlayStation strategy guide. I think we can all relate to that, being younger, playing some of the earlier games and then having moments where we jump to a PlayStation and just experience something that is so new. That's what it was like for me and my sister, playing a PlayStation for the first time. It was mind-blowing. 3D graphics, it's not 2D cartoon looking, it's insane. There's Timmy.
Many years I spent scheming. A new box and some salvage gear was all I had. I thought I would never make it in, that I was doomed to a life of plain reality, until one night when things just went too far. I guess sometimes you gotta be careful what you wish for.
Also, the guy in this video, his name is Timmy. He was from the show Road Rules. Me and my sister watched it religiously. He was super cool on the show, always like funny and endearing, really nice. So he's the one who's hosting this video. But essentially, he's trying to make it into the video game universes. So it's an interesting concept. It's a fun way to do a walkthrough too, instead of it just being very dry. And we've made it in. Love Crash Bandicoot.
Where the?
Yeah, so I might have to mute the audio here because of the music they're using. But these are all the games that get covered. Like, some pretty popular games.
That looked unpleasant.
Where am I?
Also, because this was an official production, they had the actual voice actors who voiced Lara Croft back in the day.
So someone's finally made it in here. Plenty have tried, you know.
Hey, aren't you that Tomb Raider bird?
Well, it's Lara Croft usually. Perhaps you're a little lost.
I am lost. I feel a little funky.
Is that so?
Well, I keep hearing this voice inside my head. When all I'm trying to do is beat some cool games.
Well, coming inside is the first step, Tim.
Right. But now that I'm on the inside, I'm more confused than I was on the outside, just hanging in my room.
Listen to the voice. I'm sure it'll help you.
It's gonna be a long day.
Well, I'm going to have to leave you to it.
Wait!
Just use your head, Tim. It often works for me. Bye.
This kinda sucks. And am I screwed?
Ah, don't be such a wuss.
Hey, who are you? And don't call me a wuss.
You must use your brain. to beat them at their own game.
I don't know who you are or how you're even talking to me, but you gotta be more specific than that, bro.
I see. Not such a cyber genius after all, are we, Tim?
Hey, you're the big game brain. Why don't you help me
He said
out?
the thing.
Quit screwing around already.
All right, I guess I'll have to spoon feed you.
So the whole point from here on towards the end of the movie is that voice is the game brain, and he helps Tim work his way through these games, which is where the video walkthrough section comes in. They give you tips, tricks, secrets, shortcuts. He basically helps Timmy through these games until he gets to the very end, where Timmy gets confident enough to play Final Fantasy VII on his own. So it's Timmy now playing through the game, walking himself in the audience through that game. So it's pretty interesting. Like, there's a whole arc to this movie. There's even like a section where he like doubts himself, is like super unsure, and he has to get like a pep talk from Lara Croft, which nightmare fuel right here, baby Lara Croft, very disturbing. And then he gets back into it, which I think is super cool. Also, very quickly, this game, where is it? This one, Treasures of the Deep. I could never find this game as a kid, but I was so enamored with it because it looks so cool. Like a game where you're underwater. First off, doing this on a PlayStation, mad science. But you basically, as my brain fails me, my game brain, you go through the ocean and you're salvaging for stuff. You do all these dives, you earn things, you get money, you get new equipment and vehicles and scuba gear, you get your med kits. I thought this game looked so cool, but I could never find it. Media Play never had it. None of the video rental stores in the area ever had it. So this game just eluded me throughout my childhood, and unfortunately, never got a chance to play it. But like there's like sea creatures in there and stuff. Like, this game looks so cool. Like, I just wanted to play it as a kid, and I could never find it, which is funny because the ocean as a kid and as an adult terrifies me. All right, so now we move on to the Final Fantasy VII portion of the video. I'm very curious to see what they talk about. It's been a minute since I watched it. Again, VHS tape, not having access to VHS players. But by this point, Timmy is an expert. He knows what he's doing, so he feels confident.
Now for the big one.
Let me go into the world of FF7. I would woo Tifa, and we would get married and have a very happy life.
Okay, GameBrain. I picked up a lot from you so far. I think I've got it from here.
You really think you're up to it?
I think so. Final Fantasy VII is 3 CDs long. Its awesome graphics and cool gameplay make it the ultimate role-playing experience. But
He's
it's
speaking
not
the
an easy
truth.
one. Here's what you'll need to know to get you through the game. First thing to remember, as with most RPGs, is to talk to as many people as possible. If you
Fundamentals.
get stuck, try talking to them again. They may have something different to say. You start off in the reactor, and you've no worries until you set the bomb and come across the guard Scorpion boss. Hey guys, don't attack him while his tail is up.
Super major bad translation in the OG game is they say hit him when his tail is up. Everyone does it. You're not supposed to. Tail laser.
These guys never listen. After you beat him, make sure you talk to your guys on the way out, or you'll be trapped. The next important area is the Walmart.
Also, it's a bit of a truncated video review, which I actually don't mind. They save some stuff, maybe for spoiler reasons. They actually don't spoil bosses too. Some bosses. So it kind of cuts through certain sections of the game.
The object here is to rescue Tifa from Don Corneo's mansion.
Corneo.
To do this, you'll need to start by talking to certain people at the Honeybee Inn. There are 2 key items you need to get into the mansion, and 3 more if you want to be special. The first 2 are a silk dress and a blonde wig. Then there is sexy cologne, a diamond tiara, and lingerie or bikini briefs.
Yep.
To get into the Honeybee Inn for the lingerie, talk to this guy. Continue talking to people along the way, and that will guide you through the rest of the level. Finally, change in the dress shop.
It's pretty straightforward.
After you save Tifa and defeat the sewer monster, don't forget to pick up the yellow orb on your way out. Pick up items and cans at the train graveyard and jump into locomotives to move them and get by. Your next challenge will be when you meet Reno at the top of the pillar. He will encase your dudes with a spell. Attack your own guys in order to free them. The next goal is to get into the Shinra headquarters.
The music is taking me back.
To do this, you must complete a few things first. First, stop by Eris's house to learn the fate of Barrett's daughter.
Barrett. Again, this was back when we didn't have proper pronunciations for a lot of these names. So like people said Don Corneo, Barrett, Eris that was a mistranslation. Chocobo is like Chocobo for some people. I said a Chocobo as a kid.
Next, head to the Wall Market and stop by the store with the machine gun sign. Pick up some batteries from the guy on the left and head to the top of the town and follow the kids to the right. Climb up and use a battery to start the propeller. Then jump on it and make your way to the top. To get to the top, take the stairs on the left. It's kind of a long walk, 60 floors, but hey, exercise is good for you. For access to most of the floors, you will get key cards from talking to people along the way.
Oh, I remember the sneaking part.
You must sneak past the guards. To get to the 62nd, talk to the guy roaming around. The 63rd's a bit tougher. First, go to this room and touch the panel. Then open these doors and climb through the vent. Open the final door to get to the last item, and then back to the room to trade your items in. For access to the 66, you must get several Midgar model parts and stop to fix the center model with each part. You'll find access to the 67th in the toilet.
Yep.
Follow the scientist to the 67th floor and pick up the orb by the save point.
This here, I think, is a little different too.
After you're free from prison, follow the blood trail to the two big bosses.
Yeah, the camera angle. I believe in the final game,
Pick up the orb by the save point.
like once you hit this part here, it shifts camera perspectives, I think.
After you're freed from prison, follow the blood trail to the two big bosses. Equip your guys with magical materia before you head down the elevator for the first boss battle.
Oh, I remember this, man.
Magic attacks will cross the divide. After winning this battle, equip Cloud with Restore Materia for the next boss battle.
Come on, fetch. Come on. You know there's something wrong with the dog that won't fetch. Make sure you kill these guys first.
And there's other things that they don't point out. Like, again, this is very straightforward for the most part, but like how to get the hard edge for Cloud, you got to steal it from one of the soldier enemies. So like they kind of blitz through some stuff, which I think is kind of a good thing. Again, like it kind of keeps the surprise of what the game offers. But looking back at the Shinra stuff, I like how it's done in the original and in Remake. In the original, you're just kind of sneaking through hoping not to get caught, but realistically, there's got to be cameras there watching you. So I like that they incorporated that into the Remake trilogy and having the mayor basically wiping any trace of Cloud, Barrett, and Tifa in the building.
Now it's your first encounter with that funky little bird known as the Chocobo.
Chocobo, see? Not Chocobo.
There'll be a lot more in them later, but for now, just talk to them and get your first summon materia.
Come on, baby. Do a little dance for me, huh? Woo! Just take it easy. Woo! Come on.
The noise he
Buy a
makes there.
Chocobo lore materia and some greens from the guy in the
Oh,
barn.
man.
Equip your weapon with the materia and run on the tracks outside the farm. When you get in battles that have chocobos in them, don't attack the chicks.
Yep.
Defeat the monster and you will earn the chocobo. You'll need one to ride by the snake in the swamp. After you've climbed...
I'm so curious to see how they handle the Chocobo stuff in Part 3. You get access to the whole world. You're going to have the high wind, so I would assume they would keep the same minigame from the OG in Part 3, where you have to work to find the right Chocobo from the right region, take care of them and raise them in the Chocobo Ranch, race them, probably, to increase them to the right level, and then you do the breeding process until you get the right one. I don't know how they do it.
Out of the Mithril mine, head west to Junon. Head to the beach and beat the monster who resides there. His traps can only be beaten with magic. Then it's time to
Bottoms
rest.
fellow? Bottomsworth?
You'll now be rejoined with your friends and receive a materia from the girl. Now head back to the beach. While swimming with the dolphins,
remember
space
this.
yourself so that when you blow the whistle, the dolphin places you on the beam.
I took so many tries as a kid just trying to get it right.
After your televised march, don't forget to go into the stores and make sure to go into this man's store. On the ship, once you've talked to everyone, go and talk to Eris again. After
See, like they leave out the Genova battle. So there's like big story stuff that they probably didn't want to spoil.
Costa del Sol, you will reach Mount Corel. To lower the drawbridge, go into the little shack and flip the switch. Right next to the shack is a little secret.
The little babies.
But before you leave there, there's another little secret. Follow the tracks that lead to the bottom and just keep on going. After North Corel, you're headed to the Gold Saucer. Make sure to go to Wonder Square first and Battle Square last. You'll know why when you get there. In Corel Prison,
already in Corel.
Past the save point, and then go to the top right. Make sure Barrett has restore materia for this battle. Now you'll be off to the races. Make sure you pick up the red orb before the race. After the race...
Yeah. Oh, man, the Corel stuff. I think it's funny because you look at FF7 OG and Remake Trilogy, I think that there are things that the original does better, and there are things that the Remake Trilogy do better. I think the whole Corel section, I think, is probably done better in the original. I just like the vibe of it in the original. It really felt like, man, we're in a wasteland prison. How do we get out of this? And then there's the whole stuff with Barrett and Dyne being really dark in the original. It's dark in the trilogy in Rebirth, but it is super dark in the original because Dyne is so broken that he essentially wants, I think his dialogue is something to the effect of wanting Marlene to be with his wife again, and he's going to do that, essentially saying he's going to murder his own daughter, which is horrifying. Very dark. And then he, takes his own life. So in the Remake Trilogy, they put a different spin on it where there's the really big fight, which is fun, but it doesn't really feel tonally in sync with that story, which happens. And it's more of like he's just so messed up and broken that he just can't think or see straight, and then he ends up self-sacrificing instead to protect Barrett.
Use your buggy to cross the rivers on your way to the wrecked town. There are two
Gungaga.
orbs for the finding here. One is in the wreck, the other is on the path out.
Tank Ceratops is there. We didn't get proper Tank Ceratops. I'm disappointed. The trilogy is ruined. Cosmo Canyon. Oh.
Head to the top of the village and talk to the wise man. Go to the shop on the 3rd floor and buy some HP Plus and MP Plus materia. They'll be useful later. Then pick out 2 other characters to join you and bring them to the wise man. Now
I'm assuming they said wise man because Bugenhagen. No one knew how to pronounce that.
Head over to the bonfire and make sure to talk to everyone there. You'll now be able to enter the large store to face some new baddies.
Yeah, see, like they don't show all of the dungeons and the bosses, which I kind of like. There's still an element of hand-holding, but it's like, yeah, you gotta do some stuff on your own.
In Nibelheim, you can...
I'm sorry, what?
In Nibelheim.
Nibelheim. I'll be honest, as a kid, I think I said the same thing. I don't remember any of the pronunciations. As a kid, you're just reading stuff. So you're like, I don't know how any of this stuff is pronounced. Nibelheim. Okay, that makes sense.
You can crack the safe on the 2nd floor.
I remember pausing these moments to write down the code.
But to gain the items inside, you'll have to defeat a big, ugly monster.
It's a really fun boss.
You might want to come back and do this after you've gained a few levels. Once you defeat him and get the key and the materia orb, go downstairs and get Vincent. Now climb the ladder to get down the cavern and fight the materia keeper.
Which has been repurposed in Rebirth. It's in the Nibelheim flashback. We're already at Rocket Town.
First, check out the airplane in Sid's backyard. It looks like a cool ride. You gotta ask Sid if you can use it.
Yep.
He'll probably refuse you, but head back to the house and see if you can find some other way to get it off the ground.
I am so jazzed to get to Rocket Town. I just want to see, like, what are they going to do with Sid's character? Because he's clearly, like, hiding stuff. He's not his true self. We've gone over that plenty of times on the channel of, like, he's a pilot offering a service. He's not going to give his whole life story. So I'm excited to go back to Sid and his... the area that really just screws him up, Rocket Town. His dream basically dying because he saves Shara. There's the Tiny Bronco stuff, the escape. The Keystone. I wonder how they're going to handle that.
Mountains. Once on the other side, chat with a man in the house on the peninsula.
Because they already did the Keystone thing in Rebirth. Yeah, that's how you get into the temple. Again, yeah, so much has been reworked in the order of operations of things. So we've already done the Keystone. The big thing would be the submarine. Will we actually get to pilot the submarine through the ocean to find like the underwater reactor
Go
and
to
all that
Dio's
stuff?
room at the battle square and get the orb. Now it's time to have some fun.
Going on a
Been
date.
on a date lately? Depending on who you've treated best so far, determines who you'll be going out with. But be careful how you act, or you might just get a little red in the face.
Wu-Tai.
Now's a good time for you to add Yuffie to your crew. You don't need Yuffie to finish the game, but she's kind of fun to have around.
I appreciate that too. Even though they don't spoil some stuff, they're like, yeah, you might want to get Vincent and Yuffie.
Head over to the Western continent where you are likely to find her. When you do, defeat her and answer her like so. Then head to the village on her island across the ocean. Talk to the suits in the bar, then open the box in the item shop. You'll find Yuffie behind the dividers in the house by the entrance. If she gets away, check the jar by the bar, and try striking the gong in the temple area for access to the secret door. If she escapes again, go to the bottom left path of the Statue Mountain to find her. Once you have her, you should rest up and equip her with Restore Materia for the upcoming family feud. Beat her family who live in the pagoda to get the Leviathan Orb, which allows you to summon the mighty sea serpent.
How are they going to do Wu-Tai, man? Oh, man. Leviathan's so cool. Yeah, that whole arc, I would assume Yuffie probably, like, once you get closer to the Wu-Tai region, will do this still, steal all your stuff, and then you got to go to Wu-Tai, find her, do all the family stuff. But I'm really interested in, like, the story aspects of going back to Wu-Tai, because there's the Shinra War Wu-Tai, Shinra Wu-Tai War that's going to be taking place, which could span Wu-Tai and going back to Midgar. But also like Yuffie just like being so down in the dumps about like the loss of her culture and Wu-Tai and what's really happened to it and how her family's just seemingly okay with it. So there's a lot to dive into there.
Catch the old man in the maze above and you'll get a healing save point. Catch the old man at the bottom and you'll have made it through the maze. At the clock, go to 6 and catch the man and open the door. Then go to 12 to fight the big boss.
Demon Wall, Demon Gate, Bone Village. Is Bone Village going to be in part 3? I could see Bone Village being a side area where you, if you really want to, you could probably do side quests and find extra items and equipment, maybe materia, but maybe it won't be mandatory.
First, go to the forest and get the red orb by walking up to
It's
it.
Kujata, right?
Find
Yeah.
the miner by the village, and he will help you get the Luna Harp. Place the miners in these places, and then dig where their crosshairs meet. Go back through the forest, and after you've searched the area at the end, get some rest. The next day, go through the opening, and then on to completing Disc 1.
Yeah, I'm excited to go back there too. The Forgotten Capital, just to run around. It's a sleeping forest, so it looks so cool in Rebirth. You just walk through it essentially. I'm very curious to see how they handle all those areas, especially going back. Do we actually go back to the Forgotten Capital? Does that trigger more memories for Cloud? Will Cloud be in the party? That's going to be a cool fight. I think they called that monster Schizo. Might want to change the name on that one. This is the crater. Yeah, the Whirlwind Maze. This is going to be so sick. We covered this
Pass
in
the
the
energy fields.
Ever Crisis Chapter 10, which is super cool.
Wait till they fade. It's all a matter of timing.
Yeah, obviously you got to skip a lot of big stuff in a video review when you get to the Whirlwind Maze. A lot of spoilers there.
Go past the reporter and head up to the airship. After you free Tifa, run to the far edge of the cannon.
They don't talk about the slap fight.
Next, fly off to Medeal and find Dazed Cloud. Now head back to North Corel and go back to the bridge.
The
Follow
train,
path
the
to
train.
end to stop the train and get the huge materia.
Yeah, there's the quest for all the materia, the huge materia. Magnus materia, I think is how they refer to it now. God, there's so much we gotta do.
Now it's off to Fort Condor to find the second huge materia.
This is
Start by
going to be
talking
interesting
To the old man at the table.
to see how they handle
Then
Condor.
talk to another man at the top. When you take command of the army, just keep placing the regular soldiers as close to the battle as possible, forcing your enemies to the bottom. This is the cheapest and easiest way to defeat them.
So question for viewers. For the Fort Condor section, do you want them to do it like this, how it was in the OG, where you kind of like do real-time strategy by buying units and placing them in certain spots, kind of like how you played the Fort Condor minigame? Or should it be a combination of doing that, but then you're actually out in the field fighting alongside those units? That could be kind of cool.
Then see the old man for the orb.
Sid's
Now
run.
it's time to get your old friend Cloud back. Head back to the Chocobo farm and buy the Mimic greens, then go back to Medeal to feed the white Chocobo in the shop.
Oh, he likes it when you pet him.
Knock on the door in the weapon shop, then pick up the key on the platform in the back. Try the key on the door. If you get caught, be honest and you will be rewarded. Then go get Cloud and Tifa from the hospital. Head back to Junin and find the submarine at the airbase. Talk to the soldier, then go to this passage. Make sure to pick up the items by the sub before boarding. The object here is to destroy the red sub before the time runs out. Repeat the battle until you win, or you won't get the sub.
How do you do the sub stuff too? Because this is cool. If they do like a throwback to how this game is structured in the part 3, where it's just this, but like updated visuals, that could be fun. That could be like a nice little callback to the OG version of the game. But I just hope that the crew that is on the ship are the 7th Infantrymen that we ran into in Rebirth, because they would recognize Cloud. They'd be like, hey, we'll join you. You're gonna get an airship in the future? We'll be your crew.
Now pick up the huge materia from the rocket using
Space.
this code. Find the sub and submerge to get some cool stuff.
Yeah, the underwater stuff there's the thing about part 3. I am just so excited to see how they do everything. The story, the characters, how does exploration change? There's the weapon battles and combat upgrades, but then there's stuff like this, where you get the sub and you get to go down into the ocean floor and come across salvage stuff. Do they keep that limited? Do they make it like an actual open, expansive area in some sections of the world with the water? It just seems like a lot to have to craft like an entire underwater land, essentially, to do all this. I'm just so... I don't know, man. I don't know.
Take the
I'm just
wise
ready.
man with you to Shell Village and use the key on the crystal. Wait near the shore of Midgar where
Diamond
you
weapon.
will meet the fleeing weapon monster. Catch up with him in the crater and fight it out. Next, check out the crater on the frozen continent. Then head to Midgard to begin the final battles of Disc 2.
This is where I think a lot of the deep ground stuff is going to take place. And that's, again, a cool way to wrap up a Dirge story is in part 3 with Deep Ground. Deep Ground already exists. We've seen Yuffie and Sonon fight them. The people who know about Deep Ground are, very much aware in the remake trilogy. So there was a viewer who left a really interesting comment on, I think it was my second Let's Play video for Rebirth, but they threw out the possibility of what if all those Remna Wave towers we were unlocking were actually used for Hojo, for like his Deep Ground net, to activate that stuff. That'd be pretty cool. But it's also a cool way to incorporate the Deep Ground stuff into part 3 and wrap all that up, assuming we, go towards an ending that skirts Advent Children and Dirge and, a lot of the stuff that happens after OG FF7. I think that could be a cool way to incorporate the Deep Ground stuff and be like, yeah, it's here. If you want to do it, you can wrap it up. And then it doesn't become a thing afterwards where it's like, oh, Hojo activated this thing. And now we got a new crisis to worry about. The breeding. Here we go.
Okay, we've made it to Disc 3. You're almost there. Now...
Again, they focus on like some of the more obscure things, like the trickier stuff, like in the Icicle Inn area of like which spots do you got to hop on, or where do you place these people. So it's an interesting guide because there's a lot they don't cover. And then there's a lot where there's like, yeah, this might be a bit obscure. We should help people.
Be a good time to get into some Chocobo breeding. Breeding these little critters can be a lot of fun, but you don't actually have to breed them to finish the game.
Yep.
But if you want the coolest, wickedest summon spell in the whole game, Then it's time to do some dirty work, so follow me.
Knights of the
First,
Round.
you need to rent 6 stalls at the farm. Next, walk on the chocobo tracks by the gold saucer. Here you will find the walking chocobos. You need a male and a female, so win 4 of them and
Put
check
it
them
in.
out at the farm. Pass on the lame and standing ones, and set the rest free. You now need to do the same thing with the running variety, which can be found by the old Medill village. Once you have 4 chocobos, 2 walking and 2 running of the opposite sex, buy some food from the chocobo sage on the northern continent. Make sure to feed your chocobos, then race them to the A class. Equip your dudes with a steel orb, and pick a fight outside of Chocobo Sage's house. When you see the red monsters, steal their carob nuts until you have 3 of them. Now it's time for the breeding, so save now in case you have problems.
Oh my god, all the RNG when doing this stuff, do you get the right chocobo you need, was so nuts back in the day.
First mate the male walking and the female running, then the other 2. You should end up with a green and a blue chocobo. These need to be opposite sexes because you're going to mate them. It's random, so if it doesn't work for you, reset the game and try again. Hey, it's genetics. What do you expect? They need some time to reach breeding age, so race them to the S class. Then, using your last carob nut, breed the green and the blue until you get a black chocobo. There are a ton of places that the black chocobo can bring you, so take some time to travel and pick up some new stuff.
Because that's the thing too, is we already have the multicolored chocobos available throughout the world, so it's like I could see them doing like a slightly simplified version of the chocobo breeding stuff where maybe you still have to like race them and mate them, but like it's not as arduous maybe to have to go and track down every single chocobo to get to a black chocobo. But like the chocobo breeding stuff, that it's so complex it could be its own game. So I'm curious to see how they handle that in part 3 as a mini game, because I think there's a fine line of maybe making it too overly complicated and complex, but then you don't want it to be too simple either. I don't know. Because there's also the Knights of the Round, which I have thoughts on. Because the whole process in this game is you're doing this to get the best summon.
Then head up north and pick up a dashing yellow chocobo that's the opposite sex of your black one up north. Chat with the girl in the corner to race your black one at the gold saucer until you reach the S class. Stuff them with Chocobo Sage's greens to get them speedy. Then steal some Zeo nuts from the goblins up north. Use it to breed your black and dashing chocobo.
Is Kid G gonna make a return? Is he gonna help us with this? I forgot about him.
This will get you the precious golden chocobo.
There's the gold one,
which you can ride to get the awesome Knights of the Round orb.
Yeah.
Also, try racing this bugger. He rocks.
Yeah, because I think a lot of us are under the impression Knights of the Round will be incorporated into the story. There's some really interesting theories out there from people of like, what if it was the Knights of the Round that sealed away Genova? It could be kind of like a updated version of the proto materia quest from Rebirth, where you're actually learning about the lore of the Knights. Maybe I threw this out there a while ago. Maybe you do like a God of War Ragnarok thing where you find the individual knights throughout the world and you do battle with them and then they join your team until you have all of them. There's so much here that it's like, how do they do it? Because then if that's how you do it, do you still need the chocobos to get to these spots? You know, you need incentive. You know, just give somebody a chocobo, let them explore, and it's like, oh, I actually need this chocobo to get to this area, which has got extra stuff, without actually like walking you through it.
Now we're going to buff up for the final battle. First, get Cloud's Ultima weapon by defeating the air weapon 4 or
Also
5.
see like the dialogue here. I don't know if is that actual language.
times. You may have to bump him a few times before he'll stop. Then you can fight him. Next, head back to Cosmo Canyon and talk to the dying old man to get Red 13's best weapon. With a gem from the sunken plain, go to the caves in Yuffie's village and put out the fires for even more items. Now head up north to the big guy. This one I'm going to leave up to you.
So, GameBrain, what do you think? How'd I do?
Not too bad, but you didn't cover the final battle.
Hey, you have to leave some to the imagination. Besides, now that I have the Knights of the Round orb, I don't think it'll be too much trouble.
Yeah,
not wrong.
When will you learn? This is just the beginning.
What?
Now I'm gonna make it a little bit challenging for you.
Huh?
Let's see you deal with this.
Parappa the Rapper, I forgot about this.
I need to go, just as bad as you. What I had this morning, I don't even wanna say to you. Kick, punch, turn, and chop the door. Kick, punch,
Turn and chop the door. I played the demo for this a lot as a kid. I didn't know what I was doing.
It's all yours.
That's GameBrain. Interesting video, interesting movie. I'll say it's a movie. It's like 90 minutes long. You know, it's long enough to be a film. But how they handle FF7 is really interesting because there's a lot of big story stuff that they don't focus on, which is probably good. You don't want to spoil that. And even at the end here, for them to be like, yeah, we're going to let you handle the ending. Granted, the final dungeon is mostly straightforward. There are different sections that you can take and some tough enemies, but it's nothing too crazy. But it's essentially like, if you want to get buffed out for the very end of the game, this is what GameBrain basically does. Some of the more obscure stuff that might be kind of hard to pick out is what they go through, but it's still fun to revisit this because I watched it so much as a kid. All of the musical stuff that they include, the musical cues, the jokes, it's just like has stuck with me since I was a little kid. So it's cool to go back and revisit it. And again, like this is stuff we'll see in part 3. A lot of this stuff, like the sub stuff, going back to Midgar, Deep Ground has that get handled, Knights of the Round. There's just so much to look forward to for part 3, regardless of when it gets announced and, you know, gets a release date. We're all ready to see something, man. Hamaguchi's just like, he clearly wants to say so much more, but that's not up to him. That's up to Square and the marketing, the release date, that's up to them as well. So there's only so much he can say, only so much he can do. We just know that they're working very hard on this game to make sure it's the best it can possibly be because it is the finale. So there's a lot to include. Chocobo breeding, Chocobo racing, which we've already done the racing. But I'm very curious to see how they handle Knights of the Round, the Chocobo breeding stuff, but also the submarine. So I've asked a lot of questions in this video, but let me know in the comments down below, what aspect of part 3 are you most curious about? How they handle, like we're all curious about the weapons, but like Chocobo breeding, the sub, Knights of the Round, there's a lot you can do there to incorporate all that into the lore, especially the Knights. But this was a fun video. Again, I watched it a ton as a kid, and I could never find this game, Treasures of the Deep. You got like, look at the huge blue whale, mutant octopuses, and like evil men you gotta battle, traveling the earth. Never got a chance to play it as a kid because I could never find it, so I lived vicariously through Timmy and the GameBrain. Oh, this is what happens in the halfway point. He messes up his setup. He spills water on his gear, which kicks him out of the GameBrain. Naturally, he's got to go back in. And then it's the Lara Croft stuff. This is where obviously there was a lot of focus on Lara and her attractiveness. I think people forget how popular she was. She was everywhere. She was on magazine covers. They had tons of Tomb Raider commercials. She was like an actual celebrity. It's pretty cool. So she basically gets him back in the game, literally and figuratively, because you can't give up, and then you get to crash. So that's GameBrain. Super fun video that from my childhood that I wanted to share on the channel. Blasto, oh my god, Blasto, this game was sick. Just to, you know, remember some of the nostalgia aspects of childhood, some member berries for OG FF7, and to see kind of like how FF7 was portrayed to a degree back in the day, because again, FF7 is like the most popular FF game of all time. Is it the best? That's subjective, but it's definitely the most popular. Second, I would actually say Final Fantasy X. I think 7 and 10 have a lot of stuff in common in regards to their impact and how they shaped gaming. FF7, the first next-gen Final Fantasy, jumped ship from Nintendo to PlayStation, became the first mainstream Final Fantasy, sold like 80 bajillion copies. Everyone knew what Final Fantasy VII was. Even my mom knew and still knows what Final Fantasy VII was. And I think 10 is very similar. It was the first next-gen PlayStation 2 Final Fantasy. It was the first Final Fantasy to have voice acting. So it was a very big deal, both of them. And I feel like those are probably the most two popular Final Fantasies in terms of like mainstream appeal. Because a lot of the fans would say 6. 6 is huge. But I think 7 and 10, I would say, are the biggest. Don Corneo, again, the pronunciation thing is funny because none of us knew how to pronounce these things back when we were growing up playing these games. It was just like, I think that's how you say it. We wouldn't learn until the remake trilogy and compilation and all that stuff. Kingdom Hearts, that gives you the proper pronunciation. So that's the video. That was GameBrain. I am Curious Corduroy. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought about GameBrain. Also, those questions I raised about what are you most curious about for part 3? Because there's so much to pack in there. How do they handle the breeding? How do they do Knights of the Round? There's a lot. We're all just ready. We're all thirsty for something. So who knows? When it's ready, they'll show it off. So with that being said, that's the video. I will see you guys in the next one. Please remember to always be excellent to one another.